It's all just part of the process. One day you'll blink and Bitcoin will be 1 million. American exceptionalism will be dead. We'll be on a global reserve currency. And you'll be like, how did that happen? I was waiting for the world war. I was waiting for everything to fall apart. I was waiting for the day the dollar would die. It's not happening. They're going to keep at the margins. They're going to keep shifting the narrative, keep lying, keep being politicians. Bitcoin's going to continue to grind, right? This is my personal opinion. I'm not representing a business. This is my personal opinion. Bitcoin's going to continue to be a reflection of a decaying old system. But again, if you were to say Bitcoin over 100K, gold over $3,500, China's offshoring, we've had a great financial crisis, over 1 million Americans.
Jack Mallers starts his conversation by challenging one of the most persistent myths in the Bitcoin world, the notion that Bitcoin's success is tied to the collapse of the global financial system. Many see Bitcoin's victory only after disaster strikes, banks failing, currencies devaluing, and governments crumbling. But Mallers flips that narrative on its head, suggesting that Bitcoin's rise isn't about waiting for the worst to happen. Instead, he argues it's a more subtle, ongoing process that's already in motion. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and enable post notifications before we delve further. Thank you, and enjoy the video.
This is my personal opinion. My personal opinion is that neutral reserve assets, like a gold, like a Bitcoin, are rapidly becoming the global reserve asset. Now, whether your piece of pizza is going to be priced in dollars in 5 years, who fucking cares at the end of the day? Like, that's not the core of the problem. Yes, eventually we'll get to, unit of account and pricing things in Bitcoin. But right now it doesn't matter. What matters is us humans, we wake up, we do valuable stuff for the world. We have to store that value somewhere and bring it with us tomorrow in order to exchange it for the things that we want and need in our life. Part of the things that make humans the most impressive species in the world is our ability to coordinate and plan for the future, value the future. Money is the technology that enables us to do that. Money allows me to not go to the beach today, to not tan on my roof, to not go out to the bar and drink myself to death. It allows me to work hard, provide value for other people, take that value and bring it with me tomorrow. It allows me to value and invest in my tomorrows. That's the whole point of money. And the best monies that allow us to achieve that one fundamental idea, that's the big issue. Now, whether the pizza gets priced in dollars and so I'm storing my life's work in Bitcoin, but then at the margin, right before I buy the pizza, I swap to dollars and pay in a crappy piece of paper. Who cares about that? No one cares about that. And I'm sitting with family and they're like, oh man, I guess I'll wait for things to really hit the fan. I'm like, guys, things have been hitting the fan. America has a drug problem, an obesity problem, a life longevity problem. Bitcoin's over 100,000, gold's over 3,500. The bond market has never been more sensitive. What are you waiting for? There is not going to be a zombie apocalypse with buildings on fire. It's happening right in front of you. We're literally transitioning into world reserve asset right before your eyes. Right before your eyes. Wake up. Wake up. This trade war that we started that was going to fix everything, we're losing. That's my rant. Wake up. It's happening. And it just continues to happen at the margins. Every day, a little more progress. You're going to blink. And you're going to be like, wow, whoa, when did all this happen? It's been happening. It's been happening for a long time. So my whole point to this rant is everything that was promised, everything that was pitched and sold to you, not happening. And they're going to normalize and pretend all of this is perfectly fine. Everyone's waiting for the great collapse. Everyone's waiting for the great zombies apocalypse in the street, for everyone to walk outside and buildings to be on fire. That's when Bitcoin is going to succeed. That's when the dollar is going to fail. That's when America is going to go through significant changes and a significant decline. Guys, it's happening right in front of you. It's happening right in front of you. Trump and these tariffs were supposed to save the day. Who's paying for the tariffs? I don't know. The guy just got in office in what, February? January? It's May. Now we don't even know who's paying for the tariffs. Just got started. My point is, like, there's never going to be an apocalypse. There's never going to be buildings on fire. There's never going to be the great collapse that Bitcoin, it's all just part of the process. One day you'll blink and Bitcoin will be 1 million. American exceptionalism will be dead. We'll be on a global reserve currency. And you'll be like, how did that happen? I was waiting for the world war. I was waiting for everything to fall apart. I was waiting for the day the dollar would die. It's not happening. They're going to keep at the margins. They're going to keep shifting the narrative, keep lying, keep being politicians. Bitcoin's going to continue to grind, right? This is my personal opinion. I'm not representing a business. This is my personal opinion. Bitcoin's going to continue to be a reflection of a decaying old system. But again, if you were to say Bitcoin over 100K, gold over $3,500, China's offshoring, we've had a great financial crisis, over 1 million Americans dead since 2010 of drug overdose, and we're the country that leads in health, obesity, population decline, longevity decline, you would think world war, mayhem, crisis, civil war, civil unrest. No, this is just life. This is normal.
He notes that the majority of people nowadays essentially work two jobs, managing their finances and their actual job. To safeguard their wealth, everyone has turned into an amateur investor, continuously analyzing charts, choosing stocks, or attempting to decipher central bank policies. The system is faulty and exhausting. Bitcoin, on the other hand, provides a solution by serving as a reliable store of value and relieving people of the ongoing stress associated with money management. Mallers contends that Bitcoin is the only genuine solution, challenging the notion that there would be thousands of competing cryptocurrencies in the future. Now, let's dive back and hear what he has to say.
Personally, where I've gotten to in my life, Bitcoin is far less of an investment for me. It's my money. Meaning, again, I got to wake up and do valuable stuff for people, and I get compensated for that. And we don't, just so everyone listening knows, us humans, we used to do something called barter, where let's say there was a town of 5 people. And I would say, all right, you go hunt for the food. You go to the river to collect fresh water. You guys, you 3 build the houses so that we have somewhere to sleep. Okay? And then at the end of the day, you give us some of the food you got, you give us some of the water you got, and you 3 let us live in the homes you built, and we'll all directly exchange our value. That was called barter. But when you go from a town of 5 people to a town of 5,000 to a town of 5 million to an economy of 5 billion, barter doesn't work. So we humans invented money to scale ourselves out of barter, where we're not actually exchanging the services we provide to the economy. We provide these services, we get a tool to actually store the value and allow us to put it in our pocket and then exchange it for the steak, for the car, for the house, for the airplane ticket. That's all money does. And so Bitcoin to me is not an offensive or defensive investment. Bitcoin is my money. Bitcoin is my way to take my time and energy, my effort, my labor, and store it and have it persist through time. And then at some point, I'm going to want a dinner. I'm going to want a house. I'm going to want to travel. And I can use my Bitcoin. It's liquid, it's sellable, it's divisible, it's global. And I could sell it or exchange it for the things I need in my life. So it's not offensive or defensive. It's money to do that one very specific thing for me. That's how I think about it personally. And it's very freeing in that way. Like almost everyone in the world has 2 jobs. They have their job every day, and then they have the job of like trying to persist their time and energy and effort, and like they become an investing expert where like everyone gets off work and has a Robinhood account and they're like, okay, the Japanese bond yields and central banks and the 10-year treasury, and they're like picking stocks and they've got different indexes and portfolios just to try and make sure they can afford a house someday, just to try and make sure they don't work 40 years and have nothing to show for it when they try and retire. So it's not offensive or defensive for me. proof of work. It's just like how I store my effort. What matters is, yes, what people are willing to store their life's work in, their time, their energy, the value they're creating today and bring it with them tomorrow. That's what matters. What are people using to do that? Used to be dollars. Okay, no, then it was US treasuries. Okay, then it was US stocks. It's increasingly becoming gold, Bitcoin. How do I know? Look at the price. The most important metric in Bitcoin is the price, because it tells you how much of the world's value is stored in this money, in this one called Bitcoin. And so no one can tell me Bitcoin's not becoming more valuable as a tool for humans to create and store value for tomorrow, because I'm looking at the chart and it looks like that. So I would say that's the crazy thing is if I were to tell someone 10 years ago, when I was in Bitcoin 10 years ago, say Bitcoin's going to be $100,000 a coin, and it'd be like, whoa, are there buildings on fire? Is the dollar collapsing? Are we in a world war, civil unrest? Is Chicago just up in arms and everyone mobbing the streets? No. I went for a walk this morning, got a coffee. Normal day. Normal day. Happening right before your eyes.
Jack Mallers breaks through the clutter to share his thoughts on Bitcoin. He makes it apparent that Bitcoin is money to him, not just an investment. He goes on to show that money is a tool we employ to hold the value of our time and labor, not just an abstract idea. Mallers likens this notion to the idea of barter, in which individuals in small communities directly traded products and services. However, the limitations of barter became apparent as societies grew in size. To scale this transaction, money became the solution rather than direct item trading. In this context, money is simply a means of storing the value of your labor, time, and effort. You can then use that stored value to purchase products and services, such as a home, a car, or even an airline ticket. Bitcoin is the ideal currency for Mallers. Bitcoin is a trustworthy, liquid, and worldwide store of value that can endure throughout time, in contrast to conventional currencies that are susceptible to devaluation, manipulation, or inflation. Mallers highlights that the purpose of Bitcoin is not to hedge against economic downturns or make rapid riches. The goal is to preserve and store the effort and energy that people put into their work. The majority of people today work two jobs, managing their finances and their actual job. To keep their spending power or make sure they have enough for the future, people in today's environment frequently find themselves venturing into the world of investment. And as always, happy investing.